Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 horror movie Malevolent. It is a Netflix film and it stars Florence Pugh, Ben Lloyd Hughes, Scott Chambers and Georgina Bevan. Now Florence Pugh is an actress that I'm seeing a lot of just recently. She was in Outlaw King and she gives an excellent performance in that. And she's going to be in the Fighting With My Family wrestling film where she will be playing the wrestler Paige, which is out next year. So from the looks of it, her star is on the rise. And this is a film that focuses on basically a group of con artists who, I think it's set in the 80s and it's in Scotland. And there's a brother and sister. We have Angela and Jackson. And they are joined by Elliot and Beth. And they basically travel around and they cleanse houses for people. But they don't have any gifts at all, really. They just con them into thinking they've cleansed the house and then charge them for it. So this is what they do. And they are contacted by a woman who lives in a big house that wants the screaming to stop. And Jackson's all for it. Angela, by this point, has started to sense things for real because their mother, who they lost some time ago, was sensitive, and it looks like her daughter Angela now has that gift as well, but she doesn't understand what's happening to her, if you like. She's reluctant to continue with the con. Jackson's very persistent, and they head out to this huge house where there were a lot of children's deaths and children's going missing and this kind of stuff, and the owner of this house wants the noises and the screaming and the activity to stop, so she wants them to cleanse it. They begin the process of conning this lady, and as you can imagine, in a scenario like this, it doesn't exactly go according to plan. So that's basically the premise of this story. What did I think of Malevolent? I thought the last half an hour saved this film, if I'm honest. I thought the majority of the build up to it I didn't feel. Apart from Florence Pugh, who played Angela, I thought she gave a lovely performance. I liked her performance, and she was clearly there for us to relate to in a sense of that character. Jackson, the brother, was deeply, and I mean deeply, unlikable. And I found myself struggling to feel any sympathy for him when you were supposed to feel sympathy for him. I felt sympathy for Angela, not him. And the other two characters were, we have Elliot and Beth, who are like joining them with the con and stuff, and nowhere near fleshed out enough for you to know anything about them or care about them. There's a thin attempt to flesh out Elliot a little bit later, but again it's too little too late for me. So I cared little about their fates as well, to a large degree. So I thought the characters for this weren't fleshed out well enough from my perspective. And for large parts of this film, nothing happened and it wasn't scary at all, really, apart from a couple of cheap jump scares at the beginning. But when this actually pulled the trigger on the horror elements, and the horror elements in this film come from a source you might not be expecting, with this being like a supernatural horror film. There is supernatural elements to this film, but that's not generally where the horror comes from, and I'm not going to spoil where the horror does come from, but I much preferred that approach. It felt visceral, it felt tense, I felt fear, and that bit really worked. The last 20, 25, 30 minutes of this film vastly superior to the first 50 minutes, hour of this film. So I thought the last part of this film definitely saved it for me. I thought it was creative in how it approached the ending. It wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to very much go down typical horror tropes by the end of this, and there's a little twist by the end that I very much welcomed in this film, and that is what for me made this a far more watchable experience. So I thought I was looking forward to this, especially when I realised that Florence Pugh was in it, because I genuinely think she's quite a talented actress, and I do think we're going to see her in a lot of projects. I really do. I've been impressed with the performances that I have seen so far, and it is very much up to standard in this film as well, and she very much carries this film. But from my perspective, vast chunks of this film didn't grasp me particularly. I thought the setting was good, set in the 80s. I thought, the isolation of the house and all that kind of stuff worked particularly well, but I didn't feel as though the director built tension well enough when he should have done, apart from right at the end when it was at times particularly tense, I felt. So I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10, guys. At one point it was going to score vastly lower than that because I just wasn't feeling this film up until the last part of it. But it is an interesting film. I can understand why it's on Netflix. It isn't terrifying, this film. It's not going to scare you out your socks or anything like that. But it is well made, it's well acted, but it's full of not particularly well fleshed out characters. And not an awful lot of horror until the last third of the film. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I shall see you next time on Screen Stars.